folks. Hi, very good morning. Hope you're all well. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on what time you're tuned in at and where you're watching or listening. Very welcome to everyone who is joining us this morning live on Zoom, or indeed if you're watching us back. And lastly, if you're tuned in on our podcast channel. My name's Rob Magee. I'm the CEO here at Ingenio. We have built an e-learning platform and business alongside our tech recruitment business to help people specifically get hired by technology, software and SaaS organizations, predominantly across Ireland and the UK and indeed other parts of Europe. But yeah, you're very welcome. I wanted to just to kick off in terms of what are we doing today, and what have we been doing over the last couple of weeks, over the month of April. We've been very specifically focused and tuned in, excuse me, but very specifically focused and tuned in on helping you come up with, write, create, publish and really importantly send your CV to the best and optimum outcome and output. The series that we've run over the course of April, as you see, we've had 3 previous sessions which you can tune into. But today, what I want to talk about, as I guess a kind of a wrap on this topic, is, over the last few weeks we've built, we've done loads and loads of thinking, conceptual stuff. We've created really good structures, avoided obviously some key mistakes that a lot of people make. And today is all around trying to get your CV into the right person, and ideally right person, right time, so that you can get some appropriate and relevant activity and action off the back of that. Before I launch into the detail, this is a really, really important structure that I talk about all the time. So in our course, I'm going to talk a little bit about that, over the course of this morning. In our course, there is a model that we have built, which is called the Ingenio Profile Grid. And this is a process that everyone needs to go through, regardless of, I guess, your kind of position or your situation from a CV perspective. And in our course, there's an entire section on the profile grid. And you need to have that done. You need to have those 4 bedrocks really well documented, thought out, considered. And then they need to be reflected in your CV in order for that to make real impact. And this is really one of the key foundations to a lot of the work that we do, and we help people when we're advising around kind of CV creation and and that type of on that kind of topic. So let's assume for a second that we have you've got your CV all done. It's worded, it's visual, it's optimized correctly. Who do you send it to? And I think, and certainly we as recruiters see this lots. People don't spend a huge amount of time really considering where the CV goes to, when they're making digital applications. So that could be on a job board, on Indeed, on LinkedIn, whatever, or indeed on a company job board. So it's really, really important for you to think about before even getting close to applying is who is actually going to hire you, and that individual will be in the industry we kind of phrase that as a hiring manager. So let's say, for example, I'm going to use a couple of categories here for some people that are tuned in this morning. So if you're a data analyst, who is it typically in an organization that is going to hire you? Okay. Is it head of BI, head of MI, head of data? Is it head of projects? It's really, really important that you understand who the girl or guy is who's effectively going to make the decision to hire you. Okay. If you're in sales, so let's say, for example, you're a new business orientated account executive, who's the person that's going to hire you? Well, it's going to be either the individual responsible for new business or client acquisition, or indeed maybe a level up. A level up, it could be a sales director or a VP of sales. And you know, it's really, really, really important that you know, ultimately that individual in the process is going to be the person that you end up working for. And they will ultimately be the ultimate decision maker in the hiring process. Okay. You might go through, as I say here on the deck, you might go through a series of interviews. You might meet someone from HR, you might meet a recruiter, you might meet some of your peer team, you might meet maybe other people from other parts of the business. But ultimately, that hiring manager is the individual that is going to make the decision to hire you. Okay. Yes, there will be input from a team of people. You know, they might take a committee view on things, but ultimately one person is going to make the decision. And that individual is never, ever, ever someone from HR or a recruiter. And that's really, really important. Okay. So, knowing who the individual is who is hiring is as important before you submit your CV. It's as important as actually how your CV looks. So if you knew that Rob Magee was the hiring manager who was the head of project management and you were applying for a project management job, what would you want Rob Magee to know about you, either before or just after you've made an application? And that's really, really important. And look, ultimately, what I'm trying to get you to think about here today is I want you to get that hiring manager to effectively do something, right? To react, to instruct, or whatever the case may be. But you need to get them to do something off the back of you know, them being aware of you in the process. And ultimately, what we would want to do, if let's say, for example, a recruiter or HR are running a process and you apply formally, so online through the jobs portal, if you apply there. But what you would also be doing is you would be contacting directly the hiring manager and making yourself known. And I'm going to talk about some key tactics and activities there. And ultimately, what we want that hiring manager to do is we want them to reach out into HR or into recruitment or into that jobs portal and say, I've just had an outbound or an inbound outreach or contact or email or video or whatever the case may be from John Smith, and I want to make sure that John Smith gets into the interview process, or that he's in the interview panel, or that, you know, I want to make sure that I have a look at his CV. And that is ultimately what we want to do. That's what this session is all about. Okay. So your CV goes in. There's always a formal way of applying, but what I want you to try and really think about here is, what do we do in the background by targeting that hiring manager directly? Okay. Couple of ways. There's a couple of ways that we have seen work really, really, really well in terms of connecting with a hiring manager. So look, very, very clearly, the first thing is that you need to know who that individual is. And then once you know who that individual is, connect with them on LinkedIn if they're on LinkedIn. And I would also really try and tune into maybe connecting with them on an appropriate social media level. Twitter is probably the most appropriate, other platform that you can garner and gather a lot of information around people. And it's less personal than maybe some of the other social media platforms or applications. Specifically, I'm talking about Facebook and Instagram. But look, the first thing that I would be doing is I would be connecting with them on LinkedIn, connecting with them on social media. A connect on LinkedIn, if that's accepted, allows you access into their profile. It allows you to see, in some instances, the contact information, so email, phone number, if they've chosen to kind of put that up on their profile. It allows you to see, reach into their community and their network. So who are they connected with, and is there anyone that you know that they know that might be able to kind of provide some kind of introduction? Okay, so the first thing I would say to you there is really tune into that. The second thing is uh, another CV by email is going to be another CV by email, right? So it's not really going to stand out. But what I'd be really interested for you to go and do to make your application stand out, and you may well see Lisa from Ingenio Learning, she uses video outreach platforms all the time. And basically what you can go and do, and these are loads and loads and loads of free tools. The one that we use is a platform called Vidyard, and we'll put some information in the chat on that one. But basically what you can do is record a 15-20 second headline overview of yourself, video image, and do that alongside maybe a presentation of your CV. So it might be something like, hey Rob, it's John Smith here. Just a quick reach out here. I'm applying for your project manager role, or I have applied through the formal process. I'm really excited and I think I'm very relevant based on X, Y, Z. And I'm really, really interested and looking forward to hearing from you throughout the application process. If there's anything that I can help you with, let me know. 15-20 seconds, really sharp, really precise. You're landing into their inbox. So that for me has real impact. Okay. The next method, obviously connecting with the hiring manager, is the good old telephone, which can really never be beaten, because clearly what that means is that there really isn't there isn't anywhere for people to go. But again, you need to be correct. You need to be prepared. You need to be ready to potentially be able to speak to someone on spec. So it's really, really important that you've got your kind of mini pitch or mini overview basically set up. And really importantly, what is the objective? So the objective of the phone call is to say, look, heads up, I've applied. I'm really trying to get some information, or maybe some assistance, or I wanted to make myself known. So it's really, really important that you're clear in terms of what your objective is. Okay. And the last thing that a lot of people overlook is just asking for help, right? So look, if you're trying to target a particular organization for a particular reason, there is absolutely no harm in going to people within that organization, maybe who you know or perhaps who you don't know, and asking them for help, asking them for some assistance in terms of, maybe how the business how the business works and how it's structured, or maybe some of the things that they're doing with their clients. So that's really, really important. Okay, ask for help and engage people. Is a really, really powerful, really powerful tool. Okay. So look, just I'm gonna take some questions now, and I've got a poll to run, but just really succinctly, just in terms of our platform, our course, right? So we built Ingenio Learning specifically to help people like you get hired. And I want to really quickly show you what it looks like. So you're going to get a follow-up after the call. We'll provide some information for you on this one. But basically, what I really want to try and get you to really think about is, what are the outcomes and outputs that you can get from taking our course? And I guess, look, there's a number of pieces here that we go and provide and offer for you as part of this. Really importantly is have a look at the curriculum. So the curriculum is basically laid out across 4 sections. The first is a really important, rock solid foundation around career coaching. And it's very important that you get that piece right. And you'll see there, module 3 is the Ingenio profile grid. That's just one of the exercises that we do in section 1. Section 2, if you're not very familiar with how technology businesses are structured, and that's what employers really want to know, how much research have you done on their business? That's what that section's all about. So it's really to give you insight in terms of their businesses. We've been talking very specifically, you need to have one job, one role. You need to have one very clear career track. And if you don't, if you're conflicted across And we've met a lot of people recently who are call themselves, well, I'm a developer and a business analyst. You can't be both, right? I'm a salesperson and a marketeer. You definitely can't be both. I'm a product manager and I'm also a product manager. You can't do both, okay? So it's really, really important that you tune into that. And that's what section 3 is all about. And lastly, section 4 is all around the hiring process. And actually, that's what we're going to be talking about. That entire process, that's what we're going to be kind of tuning into next month in our May session. And look, you can watch the first class for free, try and get a real feel for what the course actually looks like, the tone, the topic, the tempo. And I would definitely suggest that people go and do that. And look, have a listen and have a look and have a read about what our students say. The really, really important piece here is that all of these girls and guys took our course and got hired by some amazing technology companies. And that's where we want you to be when you've taken it. Okay. So look, that's a little bit in terms of what you get and what we're all about. Specifically for anyone who's tuned in today, we've a promo price that expires this Friday, and we'll be sending you some details on that. I hope that you look at 35 euros as being a really small but very significant investment in your career to get you hired by one of these types of organizations that we're working with and we're helping helping our students get hired by. We offer a one-to-one, a direct one-to-one engagement. If you've got interviews coming up, or if there's a particular area of weakness that you feel you have that really needs to be addressed, we offer that service there. Again, if you want more information on that, type more info into the chat box.